let's move it on to the last story of the night, and this is something I want to talk about because I seem to be seeing it pop up more and more and more in video games, and that is episodic video games. And when I say episodic video games, I mean they're games that are released in portions. So you'll have one good segment one week, and then maybe another month or two down the road they'll release another big segment, and then another, and so on until the whole game is completed. I'm talking about the likes of The Wolf Within. That was a Telltale Games one, which is apparently pretty cool.
Telltale Games does a lot.
Yeah, Telltale. This is kind of Telltale Games' thing. Another one that I really enjoyed was The Walking Dead. I only played the first season, didn't play the second season. But again, you can have seasons with these, and each one was like $5 per episode, and so you're paying like $20 for a full game. That was pretty awesome. Like The Walking Dead actually won several Game of the Year awards from several prestigious places. I believe like IGN gave it one, and Game Informer or something like that gave it one. So that's pretty cool. But I just want to talk about what type of impact this will be having on gaming in general. Because not only have you seen these games that are dedicated as episodic games, but you're starting to see major games like BioShock Infinite had 2 episodes released of Burial at Sea. Pretty cool add-on to the story. Actually takes you to a whole different realm. Same basic characters, but a new way to explore the game. So a game that everybody loves, we're just going to give you a little bit more in a different setting. You have another game like Alan Wake that had like 2 or 3 episodes added on. And a lot of these episodes are cool because you don't actually have to own the first game to be able to play these other ones. So,
although, yeah, I was going. Okay, so that's a little bit different. But I was going to say, like, some of these that are just like adding on to the games, is it really that different from, say, just giving an expansion or some DLC?
Well, see, I think the lines are getting blurred between expansion packs and episodes.
I mean, they don't really do expansion packs. You don't see explicit expansion packs as much anymore.
Yeah, like
I guess every once in a while there is, but
a game like Skyrim came out with 2 really cool expansions to the game. I would call them expansion packs because they added on new areas, they added on new characters, a few new weapons, but didn't really add to the overall huge game as much as, you know, bringing you an actual like new game. So
yeah, and I think what is it? World of Warcraft still does expansions, which are really huge when they do it now. Every few years, they just keep adding on to that game through what they still call expansion packs. But I think the reason they still call it expansion packs is just because it's been going on since the era when we had expansion packs, like,
well,
what,
yeah, I mean, yeah,
10,
and Blizzard,
12 years ago.
Blizzard is one of those companies known for releasing these huge expansions to a game. You look at the Warcraft games, you look at the StarCraft games, those all, and I mean, is Blizzard Diablo?
Diablo. Yep, Blizzard's Diablo.
So they don't really call theirs episodes, but they call them expansions. And so that's pretty cool. I definitely enjoy seeing that because, you know, you have a game that you really love, they get a lot of fan support, and they say, hey, we're going to add a little bit more to it. Now, it's a little bit different with some of these other episodic games because that's supposed to be what the whole thing is. You know, each part, you have to have 5 episodes to make up the game, not just here's an expansion pack to something you already loved. Which is a pretty cool idea because it almost gives you a chance to buy the first couple hours of the game, and if you don't like it, stop playing. No harm done. But
you don't
if
have
you
to
do
buy
like
the full game if it turns out to be not something you like.
Yeah,
or if you start
can,
getting bored part of the way through, even. So more so than just a demo of situation. So.
And you can keep going if you want to, or you don't have to. So I don't know. Are we going to start seeing this become more of a trend with games? Are we going to get more games like that? Because look at the Half-Life series. You have Half-Life 2, Episode 1, and Episode 2, but yet there's supposed to be an Episode 3 that hasn't come out for like 10 years. So yeah. Is that also going to be a problem for people who want to play these games that just it never gets released? Like, can you ever see a future where they're like, you know what, we're done developing this game on Episode 3 out of Episode 5? You know, it's like, what the hell? No, I want to finish the game. You must finish the game. I bought your first 3 episodes. Finish the game. You know, I mean, I don't know where this is going to go in the gaming industry.
I thought I'd seen some games, they'll come out and they'll have like all the episodes ready, but sometimes it also makes sense not just from the consumer point of view, but it's sometimes used to see where the interest is and whether they have enough money, like the studio has enough money to keep producing the game. Like I know recently the Double Fine adventure game. They had what they thought was enough money because they had huge amounts from the Kickstarter, way overdid their goals for the Kickstarter, but they ended up making it so big that they started running out of money. So what they did is they said, okay, we're going to release the first episode of it now. Everyone that had the Kickstarter will have this episode. They'll also have every future episode, but we'll start trying to sell this out so that we can get money to finish the game in a second episode. You see that with a couple other stuff. I assume that's a big push for a lot of the episodic stuff is doing that. Sometimes they're more self-contained. Like the Sam & Max series, I think, had a bunch of episodes too.
They actually have 3 seasons, I believe they call it. I actually got the first season, and now I love Sam & Max from the Hit the Road game. That was an amazing game. The new ones don't quite hold up, but I'm glad that those characters just haven't died. I like those characters.
Yeah, but they've released an episodic. I don't think I actually played it, but I got the impression that you get like each episode is maybe like one of the mysteries or a major chunk of a mystery to solve. Right.
Well, each episode is pretty much its own little storyline.
Yeah, so it can be like
they
standalone.
Connect together. They connect together as an overarching arc. I should use English better. But
so that's a cool way of doing things, though. I know even like Sonic 4, strangely enough, came out in episodes where you just have a bunch of the levels here, and then when you're done with that, you get a whole bunch of other levels for episode 2. But they spent a lot of time in between to see if people even still cared about the old school Sonic series. I think is the reason why it's so much time and why go episodic for Sega.
Well, I mean, and did you realize that the first episodic game ever released was actually released in 1979? So we're talking about it like it's a new idea, but it's been going on forever. And I believe it was a series of games called the Dungeon Quest games, and that was, I think, an Atari-based game. And then we've also seen it with Sega. Sega's actually done the episodic thing before. With Shining Force 3, they actually released that in 3 episodes. The first episode was released on Sega Genesis, and I believe the second 2 were released on Sega Saturn, so it even breached systems. But I think you're right. It's a cool way to just judge interest in what people would want to see. And you know what? Maybe one of these developers puts out a couple episodes, they run out of money, and like Yahoo did with Community, somebody bigger steps in and saves them. Says, hey, well, we like your game. We think there's a potential for it. But we want to market you a little more.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know I have a few episodic games, too, that I only picked up because the first episode was cheap or free. I have the Back to the Future game because I saw it was the episode 1 is free, and then you can, pay for if you like that much, you pay for the next episode for a little bit of money, pay for the next one. It's another way of luring people in, kind of like what we've talked about before with some of the free-to-play formats where you're getting like a stripped-down version of a game, and then if you pay, you get the full version of the game after you've already been drawn in. Episodic is just another way of doing that. So,
yeah.
And I think it's a pretty nice way of doing it.
And my basic opinion about this is I like it because I understand why it wasn't really feasible years and decades ago because internet and a lot of these episodic games are download. You don't really see them come out on consoles like the actual hardware part, like the discs and stuff. But yeah, 10 years ago, the bandwidth wasn't out there. I mean, everybody was still downloading stuff on a 56.6K modem, and it would take you like 4 days to download one of these 1 gigabyte games. So I see internet kind of expanding that, and I think it has a bright future. But you know what? What do you guys think about that? Let us know in comments down below. Do you think this is a good way to do games? Is it a bad way to do games? Are you cool with it as long as it doesn't become the mainstream way of doing games? I don't know. Let us know at wordsmyface on Twitter, wordsmyface@gmail.com, wordsmyface.com, and comments down below. Google Plus. Oh, you can't forget Google Plus. It's out there. They actually sponsor us. You see the little Google Plus here? I'm going to try to point at it. It's hard to find my finger in the camera.
They do not officially sponsor us.
They don't sponsor us, but they
do. Like to officially sponsor us.
They let us do the show. You see the Google Plus symbol in the corner every time. So yeah, if Google, you want to sponsor us, hit us up. You know how to get a hold of us because we do all our stuff through you. We love you, Google. But yeah, I think that's going to be the show for tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, let us know any of your thoughts on any of our subjects for tonight. And I do need a horrible movie of the week for next week, so drop that one in the comment box down below, or at Words My Face on Twitter, Google Plus. You know what? We have a Facebook page thing too. I forgot to mention that because that's actually how Sean got a hold of me, was through Facebook, and he's a really good friend of mine. So that I mean, it makes things possible. So so if you'd like to pull off the Band-Aid for me next week, and I'll come up with another gory reference to pulling off the Band-Aid next week. Go ahead and torture me with that.